cast from the coast.
There's no more room in hell. The dead will walk here.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
Here's Johnny.
She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes.
This 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face, the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
The boogeyman is real, and you found him.
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
Have you checked the children?
Welcome, everybody, to episode 32 of They Cast from the Coast, the cult and horror podcast from Eastern Canada. My name is Adam Miles, and I have with me, as always, Tim! Look what your brother did to the door, Johnson!
Weak.
But appropriate.
It was appropriate. Yeah, but we've had this discussion where it's always appropriate. Adam goes above and beyond to make it appropriate. Just sometimes, the movie just doesn't give Adam any gems to use.
I wanted to use something.
It's not your fault.
I wanted to use something from Franklin, but I didn't want to be too annoying. Exactly. That would have been Tim Johnson.
Exactly.
See, I would have found that hilarious.
Oh, geez. Here we go. Do I got to restart the podcast, Tim?
No, it's fine.
It's acceptable. How you doing, Tim, buddy?
I'm good. I'm good. Yeah.
How's your week been?
Not bad. Just normal shit.
Okay.
Watching movies and doing pictures. The same thing I say every week, pretty much.
We don't get tired of hearing about it, Tim, so don't give us that attitude. Have you seen anything new?
I've seen some trailers. I know you guys have seen some trailers.
Yes, we have.
Now, we haven't talked about it. We haven't talked about it in any official or unofficial capacity yet at all. But, just some footnotes, some cliff notes here of the trailers that did come out. Mm-hmm. I was very excited about the new trailer for It.
Oh, yeah.
Wow, that was really, I don't know, I feel dirty after you said that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so there's It. There was the Jigsaw trailer, which I'm pretty pumped about.
That's pumped,
I completely forgot about that one. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh.
I know what I'm doing tonight.
There was the Stranger Things Season 2 trailer.
Yes.
And what some would call a prequel to the film topic of this evening, Leatherface.
Yes. Which looks a lot more promising than I've been assuming it's going to be.
Yeah.
Because with everything that's been going on with this movie, with it basically the production just shitting the bed on everything, nothing being released and no information and hardships on set, I thought we were going to get a look at the trailer, and I was just going to say, what the hell am I looking at?
Yeah, I thought the same thing, but the trailer leads me to believe that this actually might be good. That one scene where that girl walks into the barn, and she turns to the side, and there's Leatherface, but with a cow's head. I loved it.
And that's actually the premise of the new poster that they just released too. It shows like the little boy version of Leatherface, basically in his overalls, no shirt, but he's got the cow head on. I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. I can accept this. This is pretty cool.
Do you want to know? But I got a sinking suspicion, a feeling, a gut feeling.
A sinking suspicion.
I'm saying it now. I think this movie is literally going to be a carbon copy of Rob Zombie's Halloween.
You mean trying to take it to an extreme?
No. Plot. Because the synopsis that I read was it starts off as him as a boy, a troubled boy. He gets sent away to a home. He escapes said home, and then it goes back to his actual home, and there's going to be a time shift between the whole movie because from what I read, it's supposed to literally end at the beginning of the new one, or the original one.
Yeah, I find that interesting because it's taken me several viewings. I didn't initially like Texas Chainsaw 3D. Now I've come to appreciate it a lot more. It's actually not as bad a movie as what I thought.
No.
As what
Really?
my
Really,
first
though?
impression.
Like, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not. There's no judgment on your judgment. Okay,
Yeah.
there's not. You're entitled to your opinion, and I respect your opinion, Dave, as a fellow horror fan and as a human being. But Texas Chainsaw 3D was probably one of the best slasher movies made in the last 10 years.
And
Really?
And we have talked about this before, and I agree with you on that. It was great.
Yep.
Taking a very loved and cherished franchise as Texas Chainsaw Massacre is, and the character of Leatherface, and then bringing it into new territory, but still seems first time I saw it, I loved it. Actually, what it did was, I wasn't the biggest fan of the original one for the longest time.
Ooh.
For the longest time, I liked the Platinum Dunes reboot for some. I don't know. I dug those ones.
Yeah.
But then after seeing Texas 3D or Texas Chainsaw 3D, and how it opened, I was like, holy shit! I got to go back and watch the original, and I did, and I now am a huge fan of the original. See, I'm always like that. It always takes. I come around, but it takes me a bit.
I found that with Texas Chainsaw 3D. I actually went to see it in the theater because I had met the guy, Dan Yeager, that played Leatherface in Texas Chainsaw 3D, and got a picture with him and everything. And
where did you meet him? At the Saw Cruise?
Yeah, the Saw Cruise when it came to Halifax, yeah. So I was kind of stoked to see it. I mean, who wouldn't be stoked to see a new Texas Chainsaw movie? It got delayed. Finally, it came out. Went to see it in theater. Got a theatrical release. And I walked away. I didn't hate it, but I guess I was just upset because it wasn't what I thought it was going to be. But after several viewings, it's not as bad as what I initially remembered. Seeing it in the theater. It's not a bad movie. It's not a bad movie at all.
I think it could have used more Leatherface, though.
No, absolutely. But the storyline itself wasn't bad, and for the most part, it was well acted. Better than certainly some of the other ones. And certainly that opening scene is what sells it for me. I mean, it was awesome.
Yeah.
So back to the whole Leatherface discussion then. So this movie, my understanding is this movie is made by the same production company, and it's Texas Chainsaw 3D was the direct sequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and this is the direct prequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, picking up on what you said, Tim, I am intrigued to see how this is going to end, how they're going to blend it into the 74 Texas Chainsaw.
Yeah.
It's intriguing, but I'll throw out one other quick thing. When I watched the trailer, I know this is supposed to be a direct prequel to the 74 Texas Chainsaw, but when I watched the trailer, it seemed like it fit more in line with the Platinum Dunes reboot.
Yep.
I got that vibe, that look, that cinematography. It
Even
felt
that
like it was
kind of green filter that they use in the...
Yeah.
You could have easily sold me on this being another prequel to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot from Marcus Nispel and Platinum Dunes.
Yeah, like the
And I
Texas
would've been
Chainsaw
sold
Massacre,
on it.
the beginning style.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, my 2 cents.
Well,
like I said, I just think that it's gonna be like Rob Zombie's Halloween, and I mean nothing wrong with Rob Zombie's Halloween for me, but like just the whole idea of this troubled kid and then going and then coming back as an adult. I mean, it showed it all there in the trailer. There was multiple Leatherfaces.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was him as a kid, there was him as a teenager, him as a man. Yeah. And I'm really excited to see it, but I mean, some of the scenes just kind of made me like, he got his chainsaw for his birthday, like. It's kind of cringy. It's cringy. It's like, Freddy Krueger getting his glove for Christmas, and like.
Yeah. Well, we also don't know. We also don't know until we see the context of this, because we do got to remember the way that he was in the original 74 TCM. He was an underdeveloped man-child, so giving him a gift of a chainsaw for his birthday in the context,
kid, though. He was a kid at the table,
but he's still developed. He's still underdeveloped. He's still like mentally not there. So I don't know. I'd have to see it play out to totally grasp what they're trying to do. But I can't shit on it at this point, because the trailer, like we said, did show more promise than anything leading up to it. Because I was expecting the whole time I'm going to see this trailer, I'm just going to go, this is bullshit. Please do not associate this to what I consider one of the crown jewels of the horror world, the 74 classic. Please do not associate that to this. Yeah. But now I'm intrigued. So it is what it is. Oh. Well, that's all right. So, yeah, I mean, we got some good stuff coming.
Well, I mean, it was literally like in a matter of a week, 4 trailers for horror. And they weren't bad. Like, it was actually kind of exciting. Like, I was like, what's going to come out next? Like, the new Jason? Are they going to, give us a Jason trailer? Surprise, we're making it. Or, like, a new Friday the 13th. Like, that's how it was feeling, know?
It was a week that it seemed like nothing could go wrong with what we were already seeing. Everything was hitting the mark, so that's all right. Okay, well, I guess we'll come back to a little bit of discussion on this, because right now I kind of got to go around the table. I gotta introduce us to the other guy that's in the room.
I guess. Whatever.
Go ahead. We have
that?
Dave, the other guy in the room, Miles.
All right.
See, it wasn't the big white fluffy headphones tonight. It was the other guy in the room, Miles.
All right.
How you doing, Dave?
I'm doing good, man. I'm beat. I'm exhausted.
Ooh.
I am tired. I have been going nonstop for the past couple of weeks, and finally wrapped up my super secret, top secret project this week. And
you gonna tell us what it is?
All right, Dave, plug it, man, plug it.
All right, shameless plug. So a few weeks back, about 3 weeks ago, Adam, actually, I think you led me on to this. New Line Cinema, Warner Brothers, they are putting on a contest. The contest deadline is over now, but they put on a contest in promotion of the new Annabelle creation movie that's hitting theaters August 11th, I think. Yep. And this contest was you could enter your own 2-minute short film that you write, direct, produce, conceive, finish, submit to them. This 2-minute short film, has to feel like it exists within the Conjuring universe. So you come up with the idea, you shoot your short film, you submit it to the contest, it gets loaded onto their website, the My Annabelle Creation website, and you have a chance to, I guess the grand prize is like a trip for 2 to Los Angeles to actually meet the director of Annabelle Creation, or if he's not available, meet a New Line executive. And there's all kinds of like cool stuff in there. Like they can actually put an option on your film if they like it, and they can put like a 3-year hold on it and actually option it for like a full-length feature. And so there's all kinds of really cool stuff going on with it. So anyway, for the past couple of weeks, I've been prepping, and then finally shot it, edited it, and submitted it for the contest. So it's live on their website now and available for viewing. And it's not publicly judged. It's publicly available. People can watch it, but it's judged by, I guess, a panel of judges that they decide on internally. So, but anyway, I've been nonstop going flat out with that, and pretty proud of it. So it's good.
Well, by the time that everybody listening or viewing this on YouTube actually hears about this, David will already have something shared out on the Cast from the Coast site. So Dave will put that up later tonight or tomorrow, and we'll go from there. So
absolutely.
So take a look at it, show some support, tell David that you love it or hate it. That's your
I
prerogative.
guess it was all right.
It was
okay. It was okay.
You know, my only gripe with the whole thing was it was 2 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Like I was just getting into it, and I'm like, I was like, fuck.
Well, like I told Dave, I said, I love it, Dave. I said, my only gripe, and this was just me being the way that I am fickle about editing, I don't like fade transitions the way that they always seem to happen. I was like, if it was more cutting, beautiful. But that was just my only gripe. It was just because I was thinking about it.
I know.
It's almost like I had to think of something.
I liked it, Dave.
Thanks, Tim.
Shut up, Tim.
I know you got my back.
I got your back.
Oh, wow.
You should have your back.
Dave, what are you doing, Dave? Replacing one ginger with another?
He's upgrading. Better beard.
Nice.
No, it's good. No, I appreciate it, guys. I appreciate it. It was a lot of fun. We've got some more projects coming up. I know the three of us have some projects that we're working on that we're going to be working together on. So, more super secret, top secret.
I can't wait till we can just say, hey, this is
what
we're doing.
I know. It's coming.
Soon. Fun. So we'll talk about that more on another episode. But, guys, we got to kind of move on a little bit here. There is something that we have to talk about. There is something extremely unfortunate which has happened recently that has struck the horror community, the movie world in general. We have lost one of the absolute masters, one of the greats in the world of horror. Legendary. This man defined an entire genre. We unfortunately lost George A. Romero. Oh, wow. There are very few, you always feel bad when you hear that an actor or a director or somebody passes away, but there are very few that hit you in certain ways. And when I heard that George Romero had passed in the midst of making what would have been his final movie, Road of the Dead, he passed away, succumbed to cancer. And what a terrible turn of events. Heartfelt, all of our thoughts and, good vibes go out to the family, hoping, that they can find peace with the situation. But wow. With that, guys, George Romero, like I said, has defined an entire genre on his own, plus has gone on to create some of the most iconic movies and visuals that we've ever seen. We've talked in quite detail about things like this. Night of the Living Dead, the original. One of the still to this day, one of the greatest zombie movies ever made, regardless of how many thousands are out there. Night of the Living Dead is still the de facto. Mm-hmm. And then following that up with something that was only better in the fact that if Night of the Living Dead had been made the same way, that would have been that much better. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Dawn of the Dead, which introduced us to things like a score from Goblin and Dario Argento's cuts that came in from Europe, and just how purplish somebody could be when they died, and how red blood truly could be when it oozed out of people. You know what I mean? Zombies. Dawn of the Dead. Oh man, Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
I'll
be honest with you. When I heard the news, I was devastated. It hit me like a ton of bricks because there are certain key people in the industry, like the George Romeros, the Wes Cravens. These guys have lasting legacies, in the industry, in the film world. And I'm glad that we have those movies, those interviews, that material that we can go back and revisit their careers over and over and over again. And, a lot of people, don't have that option, right? A lot of people don't, can't leave that type of legacy. No. Guys like George Romero, they've left that stamp on everybody. They've left that stamp on the industry. George Romero will obviously always be remembered, for his Living Dead movies. The Godfather of the modern zombie movie. He's certainly made other memorable movies in his career that I think they get lost along the way just because of the immense popularity of the Living Dead movies. He'll always be known for Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead. But I mean, and we're going to talk about these in a later episode, but I mean, Martin is not brought up often enough. No. It's a classic movie. The Crazies. I mean, he's made so many movies in his career. It's it's sad that we've lost him. I mean, I was just like, I was wrecked. I was devastated. I'm like, I can't believe we've lost George Romero. And sometimes you lose sight of, really how old some of these career filmmakers really are, right? I mean, he was 77, which isn't terribly old, but I mean, you're starting to get up there in age, and sometimes you just lose sight of, we could lose some of these people at any point in time. I mean, it's fact of life. I'm just glad that I have his works of art that I can go back and revisit, and it's, I mean, in the end, we're all going to miss him, but at least we have that we can go back and revisit and relive, his legacy.
Yeah. And, I mean, once again, things that get lost in the shuffle. Even though this movie is so widely loved and known, it's widely known and loved, but there are actually people who don't understand that George Romero really did direct this movie. Some people think that somebody else did it for some reason, or they keep seeing Stephen King's name on it. Creepshow. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I've talked to people before where I said, oh man, the movie Creepshow, and they're like, oh, Stephen King's Creepshow, and I'm like, no. Well, no. Stephen King wrote on it, and starred in it.
He was in it, yeah.
George Romero made that movie. Well, the anthology movie as it was. And, when you've got such a high class of film, that it's just, it, and people love it. And it's not just that they exist, but they are widely renowned and loved and cherished. That's what it comes down to, too.
I have not been as heartbroken by the loss of Mr. Romero over any celebrity that has passed away in recent memory. Like one of you guys said earlier, where you kind of feel it, you feel bad, you feel a loss, but like when I heard this, it felt like I got like kicked in the gut. Like literally, I so many of my movie enjoying experience, the type of movies that I like, started when I watched the original Night of the Living Dead when I was a kid. I love zombies because of that movie. I love horror movies because of that movie. And it just sucks. It just sucks. But I think Dave said earlier, it's bound to happen. It's part of life. Everybody dies. It's just, it sucks. It sucks. And, we're not going to get I mean, I know he's got the new one coming out, but, we're not going to get any more. And he was a genius filmmaker that was, I feel, very underappreciated. Yes, everybody knows his films, but, this man had a way of doing social commentaries about things that he sees and how he feels about things, but without being preachy about it. Like he had a message, he had something interesting to say, and that voice is silent now, and it sucks, and it's been silent for a while because very similar to John Carpenter, his movies don't always do the best, and he doesn't have the best track record with Hollywood, and it just sucks. It sucks.
Yeah. But I think the real kick in the nuts here, gentlemen, to me too, especially, is that we were going to get a what would probably be a final movie in his legacy.
We still are, though.
We're still going to get it, but it's...
Well, he was only producing it anyway.
He was only producing it.
He was only producing it.
He co-wrote it, though, didn't he?
I believe he co-wrote it.
He wrote it.
And I thought he wrote it.
He wasn't directing it, though. He was producing it. So he was on set. He was the producer. It's still going to be a George Romero movie. I mean, it's still going to have his imprint on it. There's no question. It's a shame that he never got a chance to see it to completion.
Yeah, and that's what I'm talking about. It's just it's not going to feel the same too. But hopefully it is what it is, and we'll all be talking about it when it comes out, which is good. So, well, George Romero, and for all the fans out there, it's time to pull out the DVDs and the Blu-rays and the VHS and whatever you watch it on, and show a bit of respect. And I know that a lot of people have already been doing this. They've been having marathons of Romero movies, so it's about time that we probably do that ourselves and pay a little bit more respect to the man who has recently left us. So crazy. Well, guys, I think it's about time that we took a quick break, because we have to talk about 1974's Tobe Hooper, Kim Henko classic, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Come back in a couple of minutes, guys, and we'll begin our discussion.
Greetings from Tromaville. I'm Lloyd Kaufman, president of Troma Entertainment and creator of The Toxic Avenger. You know, folks, when we're not making those great movies like Tromeo and Juliet and Return to Nukamai, a.k.a. Volume 2, the Troma team and I like to kick back and listen to They Cast from the Coast. They Cast from the Coast is really the best entertainment, the best education, and the best emotional liberation that Lloyd Kaufman can possibly experience. Thank you.
This is the movie that Rex Reed called the most horrifying motion picture I have ever seen. This film is positively ruthless in its attempt to drive you right out of your mind. It accomplishes everything it sets out to do with brilliance and unparalleled terror. This is the horror movie to end them all.
Sally, I hear something. Stop. Stop.
This is the movie Rex Reed called the most horrifying motion picture I have ever seen. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, from New Line Cinema.
Welcome back, everybody, to the second part of episode 32 of They Cast from the Coast, where we're going to talk tonight about the 1974 classic Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So, this is absolutely my go-to movie. When people talk about their lists of scariest movies ever or best horror movies ever made, this is always on people's top 10 lists, guaranteed. A very large amount of people top 5 lists. This is my number 1. If I had to rank it against anything else, this is my absolute favorite movie. Now, am I one of these absolute fanatics that has picked apart every little scene of this movie? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I love...
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
On. Not that
You got
bad.
all kinds of little notes. You got like a Grail diary every time you watch it. Oh, I noticed this.
Ooh, this wasn't the same. That chair is 2 centimeters away from the last scene I saw it in. No, not that bad. But still. But this is my movie. And... It was made even more special by the fact that I actually did get to meet Gunnar Hansen before he passed, and that just kind of sealed it forever to be the best horror movie in my opinion. So 1974 saw the release of Texas Chainsaw Massacre, a movie that had to do with 2 siblings who were visiting their grandfather's grave in Texas, along with 3 of their friends, and they are attacked by a family of psychopathic cannibals. Specifically, the character known as Leatherface. Ooh, love it. So, the movie is gritty. The movie is dirty feeling. The movie is I love the warm tones in this movie. The whole vintage. I mean, it was vintage. I mean, it was 1974, but the whole tones and the hue of this movie stand out quite a bit for me. Right from the opening sequences with John Larroquette talking and giving the infamous monologue at the very beginning of the movie. Which, quick first piece of trivia for the night, by the way. In an interview not that long ago, John Larroquette admitted that, for one, he's never actually sat through the movie.
He probably just watches his part.
He probably just watches his part and turns it off. And for two, he says that his payment was a single joint. A single marijuana joint. That was it. He accepted a joint and has never watched the movie. Period. All right, John Larroquette. I used to like you in Night Court. Now I'm not so sure if I like you.
I think I like him more.
Really.
I don't know, man.
That's
He's
an
never sat
awful
through his own movie.
He got an iconic, an iconic role with not even doing it. It probably took him 5 minutes.
Yeah, he just sat.
He got paid in marijuana.
He got paid in marijuana.
It's awesome.
It's awesome.
But didn't they've used him since, have they not? Didn't they reuse him in the remake, the Platinum Dunes remake? Didn't he do it again?
I'm unsure. That's a good point. I don't know that myself. So somebody's going to have to look that up while we're going through the episode, I guess. But the movie was directed by Tobe Hooper and was co-written between Tobe Hooper and Kim Henkel. And Kim Henkel was infamously known later on by people as the man who directed the fourth in the series, The Next Generation, which we're not going to really spend any time on, not really talk about. Oh, come on now.
We spent too much time on it.
It's a movie that even Matthew McConaughey can't remember being in. so we'll just leave it there. But still, it's all part of the series. But this movie had a very diverse group of characters. It was very interesting because one of the only thing, if I ever had to say that my only gripe with this movie was the amount of screen time that one character gets, but I understand.
Better not be talking shit about him.
Yes, I am.
Leave Franklin alone.
He is the worst goddamn character.
No,
but it's on purpose. But it's on purpose, and I understand and I love and I respect that. But my God, isn't he a character you just want to punch?
I know, but he was the only one that literally jumped out of the movie. He is the only one that you can almost say outshone Leatherface and the violence and the gore. You're right. It's about Franklin, man.
Aside from Marilyn Burns,
Yeah,
Sally.
Yeah.
Franklin is, the other memorable character. I mean, you got the other guys, you got the other friends, and they all have memorable deaths, but Franklin is the standout along with Leatherface and Sally.
I remember watching it with Anthony for the first time, and he's like, they're not going to kill Franklin, are they? And we're watching it, and then Franklin gets it. They killed Franklin!
Yeah.
Right?
Oh my God, just everything about it. So I love the overreaction to everything that he absolutely has.
It's brilliant.
That's the best part, okay, about his character is just utter overreaction. The scene at the beginning when they're over by the edge of the downward slope, the hill, and he's gonna take a piss or something like that. All of a sudden he goes rolling down the hill and he's flailing all over the place. And when he starts rolling and he's flailing as he rolls, and the guy comes down, he's like, "Oh my God, Franklin, you're okay?" And he's like, it's like I love a lot about the character, but oh my God, doesn't he grate on you? But it's even better because one of the things that Gunnar Hansen openly talked about was the fact that the guy who played Franklin, he couldn't stand. He wanted to punch him in the face. Mm-hmm. He could not stand him.
The reason for that, and Gunnar mentions it in his book, Chainsaw Confidential, the guy that played Franklin, I can't remember his name, it was Paul Partain, I think. Yeah.
Yes.
Paul Partain is actually a very good character actor. And
a pure method actor.
He's a method actor. When he jumped into that role of Franklin, he stayed in that role even between takes, even between scenes. So everyone else is kind of hanging out on the set, smoking a joint, doing whatever, and Franklin is still Franklin.
He's still being
And
a fussy person.
He pissed everyone off on that set because he was Franklin. He was acting that way, and he would do it on purpose just to piss everybody off. And secretly, I think he was doing it. Obviously, he was doing it to draw that emotion out of them, right? So when the cameras rolled, they were legitimately pissed off at him because that was the character.
It worked, and it worked well.
Absolutely.
But the other thing that Gunnar mentions in that book, and he was telling us at Summer Fear when he was there, was that he had later met Paul at a conference or like a horror convention, and he was an entirely different person. He goes, "I got to tell you, Paul, like we haven't spoken since the movie." And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'm a method actor. That was exactly, I meant to piss everybody off on purpose." And I guess they hung out and they became really good friends. And they were like best of buddies until Paul had actually passed away a couple years before Gunnar did. And that was one of the things that Gunnar said was like, it actually kind of upset him, was because here was this guy that he could have very well have been like best friends with like almost his entire life, and it fell apart because he couldn't stand the character that the guy was being. So,
but that's a tribute to this Paul's acting.
Oh, yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. I have no doubt on that. So Franklin, love him, hate him, whatever. I give the absolute respect for the character. Like I said, it's just, oh my God, when he's on set. But that's the emotion that they try to pull. That's exactly, it succeeds in that way. So, Oh man. So the movie really starts to pick up though when they pick up the Hitchhiker. Which this type of scenario has played out in a lot of movies since. Picking up of the unknown, you got the weird guy on the side of the road. You don't know if he's good or bad or what the story is. And he was just absolutely psychotic. Edwin Neal, who played the Hitchhiker originally, did a fantastic job. He was crazy. He had the look to him, and he was just, you didn't know what to take from him. But it was even funnier because Franklin was like almost obsessed with him. Yeah. Oh, he's interesting. Is that a knife? It was just, once again, it was something that took, the attention. Franklin had the attention of him. Great character in all respects, because he's also like a forerunner to the situation. You know what I mean? he comes into the role. He comes into the lives of the main characters, and what he does, and then the cut on the hand, and it just kind of sparks that everything is just now going to go to shit. You know what I mean? I love when he's chasing them and he's slapping the side of the vehicle and he's kind of like marking it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just, he's nuts. He's nuts. He's crazy. And I loved it. Every second of it. The energy and the emotion from it. So
question, I'll throw it out there to you guys. I know it's been often talked about, but was he actually marking them for death by marking the van? Because he is drawing something with his blood on the side of the van. It's a mark. Was he marking them for death? So when they pulled up to the gas station, they would have seen the side of the van and known that, hey, these guys are marked. We're gonna, you know what I mean? Like, is that?
But I mean, that's kind of. I mean, it's a very good theory, but what are the chances that they were going to stop at that gas station? Really?
Yeah. Hey, but you don't know how many times in the span of a day this guy could have been doing that, right? He could have just been randomly marking people for any reason and hoping that one of them would be caught. Yeah. There's so much open interpretation to that scenario. I just find it, because it wasn't like he was just going, smack and he hit the side of the van like trying to get their attention. Like you said, Dave, he was like, he was moving. He was marking.
He was drawing something, because they were looking at it afterwards, remember? Because they were looking to getting it cleaned off.
And they were trying to
at it, it's like they were trying to figure out what it was.
Mm-hmm. I think it was just him being crazy, and I'm going to fucking put blood all over your van, you dicks.
Could be.
You dicks. Here's some blood for you dicks.
Yeah. Have fun cleaning that off,
The sweltering Texas heat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good stuff. Yeah, so we start to meet some more of the characters who become important.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We start to meet some more of the characters. So they get to the gas station, as we were just talking about, and they're gassing up, and we meet some other family members of the Sawyer clan that we don't realize at the time. You know what I mean? So we get a little bit more kind of into the background here, but wow. I don't really want to go through a step-by-step of the movie because, I mean, God, everybody's probably known this movie. Let's just talk about favorite scenes here for a moment, because this is one of those movies. I mean, I shouldn't have to sit here and walk people through the movie. You're going to see it, or you have seen it. Absolutely. My favorite scene in the whole movie. Actually, no, I'm going to say Dave. Dave, what's your favorite scene in the whole movie? Talk to us about this. I'm going to put Dave on the spot, and if he can't come up with it real quick, Tim.
No. My favorite scene in the whole movie would probably be is the shot where we see, what's her name? Is it Terry? She's wearing the red shorts, and she walks, and they do the swings move out of the way, and she's walking towards the house, and it's kind of a low angle looking up. It's very menacing. It's very ominous. It's beautifully.
Iconic.
It's iconic.
They've used it in every movie.
It's a beautifully shot scene. So I have a combination of scenes that I like. That one, just because of the pure cinematography, I think it's a beautifully shot scene. But my favorite scene would have to be when the guy trips over the stoop and Leatherface beats him across the head with the hammer. Again, another iconic scene. Drags him in, and the door shuts. And then you hear that low rumble.
The one in the house where it's kind of like the room in the back that's got the red and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
That scene right there is, to me, that is probably the most iconic scene in the movie.
Yeah.
It's often used in trailers, promotional material, because it's terrifying. It's absolutely terrifying. This menacing creature is standing there. I mean, it's horrific. It's what nightmares are made of. And then that door slamming shut, and it's like, holy shit.
Yep.
It's just, to me, it's that iconic scene right there. I think it's probably my favorite.
Tim?
Me?
Tim.
Well, all my favorite scenes have to deal with Franklin, and I want to talk about them in a very detailed way. It'll probably take the rest of the podcast. But Franklin, no. Dave mentioned my two favorite scenes. Like, I'm in 100% agreement with you, Dave. Those, but my favorite scene out of the whole thing is when Sally thinks that she's getting away, and Leatherface is chasing behind her, and he's running, and then Hitchhiker. Did they actually say what his brother's name was? Hitchhiker?
No, they don't. They don't have him named in the original. He's literally just the Hitchhiker.
Okay, when he comes out and like he's running faster than Leather, like I love that scene because she thinks she's getting away, but she's not at that point, So, and I mean that in the end where it was the pointless, he's swinging the chainsaw for no reason.
Yeah. Wow.
Like, was he angry at the end of the sunset?
So surprisingly, a little bit of trivia here. Did you know that scene, even though in the movie it's supposed to take place at sunrise, because it's after the night of terror where she's been tied up and whatever, but it was actually filmed at sunset. But you'd never know. Filmed at sunset, but it...
I did, because it just said it.
Oh, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Well, you thought it was sunset.
Doing it with sunset.
Yeah, because you thought it was sunset in the movie.
No,
but in the movie it's supposed to be sunrise.
It's very obviously sunrise in the movie. Like, it's supposed to be sunrise in the movie.
I'm just jamming you.
Yeah, I know.
I'm about to log off.
I'm about to shut that shit down.
Yeah, I'm gonna shut that shit down.
It's a great It's a great slasher movie. It's like the pioneer of slasher movies. I know there was probably stuff before it. I know there was stuff after it, but this movie really feels like it was the beginning of something, the beginning of a style of movie making that has, you know, I mean, fuck, it inspired, you know, pretty much every Rob Zombie movie that he ever made. But like, just, I don't know, just, I think it was the first real horror slasher movie where you were like, yeah, Leatherface! You know, like you were cheering for who was supposed to be the villain, right?
Oh yeah.
And, you know.
Yep. No, you guys pretty much captured my favorite scenes too. Iconically, yes, I love the scene where she's walking and, you know, kind of pans up to the house and stuff like this. They redid that in the remakes. They shoot that kind of a sequence all the time to
it's in the
location.
new trailer.
It's in the new trailer. It's beautiful. Kirk's death is, in fact, my favorite death in the whole movie, and that is the one where he stumbles going towards the room, that little stoop, because it's primal. He just hits him, and when his body hits the floor, all you can hear is the thumping of his body shaking from, you know, aneurysms. They're twitching and stuff, and then he drags him in and slams the door.
Well, that's what's so scary about it. It's not that it's gross or anything, or that there's, you know, a gallon of blood and guts. It's he beats him over the head, and for God's sakes, he's not even dead. He's still twitching, and he hauls him into the back room, and the door shuts. And it's at that point, when they shot this movie, they were actually shooting for a PG rating. And that's why the movie is so light on gore. You don't really see a whole lot of blood. I mean, when he's chainsawing Franklin, you get kind of the splatter, the bit of blood splatter, but you don't really see anything. And even when he puts her on the hook and, you know, all these iconic scenes, you don't really see a whole lot. It's left up to the imagination. And, you know, here's not necessarily the problem, but here's why it got the R rating is because of the tone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Her being tied up and that dinner scene is just fucked. Right?
It's intense. Even today when I watch it, the screaming, it's so friggin' intense, man. It's hard to watch even today. I've seen the movie a million times, but that dinner scene, absolutely. It's difficult to watch because it's so intense.
You know what? The one thing that a lot of people said was actually one of the most disturbing parts of this entire movie is something that they did on purpose, but they didn't think it would have that effect. The movie only has music in it that was licensed music, and it only appears in certain spots when it's really required to. All of the actual ambient noise and what would be orchestrated music typically in a movie is not music. It's just noises. And those noises were things that were recorded in like slaughterhouses, you know, and stuff like this. It's stuff that
iconic noise that.
Well, that's a slowed down flash.
Flash, yeah,
yeah, which is gorgeous sounding. Like I used to use that as like, you know, I've got mail coming in, right? You know, on my phone.
I mean, that's just as iconic as, you know, the Halloween soundtrack, the, you know, Jason kill, mama. Yeah, like, you know what I mean, like.
Yeah,
I love that. You play that flash sound, and any horror fan's gonna know instantaneous.
Texas CHainsaw Massacre.
Exactly.
Right. But all the noises in this movie, and just the random things like when they're walking through like the house, and you see the different, you know, animal parts and the feathers and everything else, and the little noises that you hear, because people are like, "Oh, it's got a great soundtrack." There is no soundtrack to this movie.
Idiots.
There's literally just noises, ambient sounds from like slaughterhouses and shit, and it makes it that much more disturbing when you're listening to it. But
you said earlier, Adam, it made it primal.
Primal. That's exactly. It made it with that rough and grit feeling. So.
And I think that's the first time you actually use "that's exactly" correctly.
That is exactly, Tim.
And you just messed it all up.
Just ruined it on purpose. There you go.
No, but primal. That is a very good description of the tone of this film.
Mm-hmm. But my second favorite scene, I love the scene where he's, you know, at sunrise, you know, wailing around with the chainsaw. But it has to be when she comes out of the window of the house, and it's the scene leading up to that where she's running down the trail. And, you know, just like, you know, what David's got on his background there, right? Where he's coming after her. But on top of that, you have the hitchhiker following her, his brother. And he's running and he's slashing at her and he's laughing and playing and having a good time with it. But it's just, it's almost like there was happiness for a minute there. She's going to get away, but then it's hopeless all of a sudden again because they're catching up to her. And then all of a sudden, truck just absolutely decimates the hitchhiker when she gets out of the, to the road. And you see his head just kind of go and pop and everything spills out onto the road. So I love that scene because it's so well done. And that it stands to the rest of the movie where it's gritty. And it's got this rough feeling. It's primal. It's nasty that way. So, but that's what I had to say on that. So, I don't know I don't want to get into the sequels. You guys don't want to talk about the sequels tonight.
You know what?
No.
I think that's probably a good topic. You know what? That'll be a great topic when the new Leatherface movie comes out. Maybe we can actually have a discussion on sequels at that point.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this one here was for the 74 classic. Great movie. Love it. I mean, it's awesome.
Got my signed poster right there. It's always above. So,
Yep.
Always got that sitting with me. So, all right. Well, if that's the case, then I think that we're going to kind of wrap this up. And we got some great new podcasts coming up in the future here, guys. And we have another celebrity booked to be on the show.
Another one?
Well, we don't have the exact
on
date.
This show?
We don't have the date, but we were contacted, and I'm happy to say that we were contacted, and a PR person said, "Hey, we got something special coming up, and we were wondering if maybe you wanted to have our client on the show." And we are more than happy to do this, and that information will be released very soon as we actually kind of solidify some dates, and we'll lead up to that. And I think you guys will be pretty excited. We're going to have to do some really special episodes surrounding that guest as well as the one with the guest. So we'll have.
So this information is going to be kept in the super top secret stuff.
It's going right away.
Like everything else.
Super top secret stuff, just like everything else, Tim. Like David's movie before he released it.
Why are we so secretive? We're not like the FBI.
Well, because we don't have it in writing yet entirely that it's all set and ready to go. So I can't really talk about it. Because then
I
all of a
want to
sudden,
talk about it.
Well, fine. But then we mention it, and all of a sudden it doesn't happen due to some reason. People go, "Man, that guy's a dick," or "Somebody's a dick," and it's like, "Well, no, he's not. There's a schedule." Yeah, or maybe these guys aren't cool, and he didn't want to do it. No, that's not the case, people. Shit happens. So,
we're just playing it safe.
Think we're not cool.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
I mean, we're like the definition of cool.
Yes,
right?
Wow. Okay.
Yes,
right?
we are, Dave. Yes, we are.
Totally just. I'm logging off now,
right?
Guys.
My mom says I'm cool. All right. So if that's the case, then we'll see everybody next time on They Cast from the Coast when we do it'll be episode 33 next time when we get together. So, awesome. Dave, until then.
Good night.
Tim.
Stay spooky.
Bah. Have a good night, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. Hey, everybody. Thanks for tuning in this week to They Cast from the Coast. We hope you enjoyed the topic and the discussion that we've had tonight. We're very excited about everything that's being produced right now in conjunction with the Misunderstood Art Company. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Say hi in the comments section. And just in general, check out the other content that's being offered, once again, under the Misunderstood Art Company. If you want to listen just to the audio portion of this show itself, we're making it available on iTunes, Google Play, and TuneIn on top of the YouTube channel itself. So thank you very much again for your continued support. Check out the rest of the Misunderstood Art Company's offerings. You might even see some familiar faces. And until next time, take it easy.